What's going on, everyone? I have had a lot of comments lately, especially after I posted the beginner's guide video about a week ago or so about how to actually progress fast. Now, that applies to, brand new players that are in that beginner stage, but also maybe some players out there that are stuck in this rut. Like, what do I actually do? And to be honest, as with a lot of things in mobile gaming, it just takes a lot of time. But there are a couple of things that you can really focus on to help you progress fast. I kind of want to give you all in some sense, a stepping stone path that you can follow on big upgrades. So we're going to start with the first one and the foremost one. And this is something you can kind of do alongside all the other ones, which is why I want to mention it first. Adventurers. Okay, adventures are like the number one way to progress quickly. One of the best ways to get that combat power, to get your stats up, and to get some extra stages done is just by getting a mythic adventurer in the first place. But then after that is actually to level up to level 100. And then after that, even if you are, I've already got my mythic adventurer, I've gotten my level 100, obviously you could start up, but then also leveling up each individual one of these to get the all stat bonuses. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, you can see here I've got a couple of them, and I actually just had this Michelangelo level 58 because I was kind of doing this exact process. But if I level this guy up to 60, boom, I just got like a almost 1 billion combat power increase, and that is because at each of the level 30, level 60, and level 90, each interval 30, you get the bonus attack HP or whatever that stat that adventure is giving you to all adventures. This is a huge upgrade. So honestly, this just takes some time, but one of the best ways to speed this up is to pick up any amount of extra adventure dust. How do you do this? Well, obviously progressing stages is going to help you. This is one of the harder ones to do, but there are also some other ways to pick up some random additional copies of these tickets. So if I were going to, the guild store, you can actually scroll down here and see the temple ticket. It's always something I buy every single week. It is a non-negotiable, in my opinion. I think everyone should be picking this up. As long as you're playing the game with your guild, you will have an opportunity to go ahead and pick that up. There are times like that, and you should just be doing this, honestly, throughout. Like, just progressing your adventures is going to be the number one way. Following that, mythics, okay? And this is, again, alongside adventures, the number one way to progress your character. So adventures are number one, and then they cap out eventually after you get all the levels and everything. Number two is getting the mythics. And alongside that, the reason why mythics are so important is because of the new double S equipment. Now, keep in mind, double S equipment is time gated, so there isn't really anything you can do to progress quicker alongside that, right? But double S equipment, as you can see with my legendary Verdant Ring, Judgment Ring, locks the Arcana effect behind it too. So let's say I have a legendary Sky Splitter. I am not getting the mythic effect, obviously, but I'm also not getting the Arcana effect from the double S equipment either, which is a huge downgrade. So even more so than ever, focusing on mythic equipment is going to be the most important thing to do. So S-rank gearboxes, S-rank weapon boxes have now become so much more valuable. I had wished I focused on those a lot sooner. At the time, I wasn't really worried about it, but now with the double S equipment, it is like a necessity to pick up as many mythic pieces as possible. Now, generally, the way you want to do this is weapon first, followed by ring, followed by potentially other ring or first accessory, which is usually Bloody Grail. And really, you can kind of do these alongside each other. So if you're using your S rank, or if you're playing in every event, you can usually get an S rank weapon and an S rank gearbox at the same time. You're getting legendary keys, of course, but you get fodder at a similar pace as well. So by the time you get a mythic weapon, you can usually be pretty close to a mythic ring or a mythic accessory, assuming you've been following the plan of getting those S rank gearboxes. Definitely don't skimp out on those, okay? It is a big upgrade. Another really important upgrade to help you progress quicker, and this is something that's a little bit surprising, because yes, the obvious ones are adventures, gear, get those upgraded, get the mythic levels, is actually gems. And I think these are some of the most underrated progression mechanics in the entire game. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people using gems that are just complete garbage. There are a bunch on here, like for example, getting plus 35% damage to shielded targets. That's really not going to help you do anything. The hero lifesteal rate, giving you counterattack damage. I mean, there's a lot of them. Like damage to bosses. This one's, on the weaker side as well. Fire damage boost is usually not that great. Or even there's some that are kind of bait you in to be able to play here. Like for example, the deal damage equal to times max HP up to percentage of attack. Those usually get capped out very, very little amounts, and they actually don't do all that much. It actually tends to be one of the weaker ones. So there are a lot of gems. There's a lot of them, and a lot of them are very, very weak. And so making sure you're utilizing the correct gems, and when I say correct, I have the big caveat on there which says you don't know what you're going to be getting. It is a lot of luck, right? When I merge all these, I mean, who knows what I'm going to be getting? Maybe it's going to be something I can actually use. Maybe it won't. But there are a lot of gems that people use thinking that they're good, but they're really not. And that can leave you so far behind in terms of what you are actually able to accomplish. Okay. Gems are a massive source of upgrades. And probably the other big progression mechanic, because we've already talked about, our adventure, our gear, our gems, which associates with our gear. It's got to be the brands. The heroes are good, okay, but really the heroes are going to be locked behind the knight and the whatever inheritance you're using. And that one's going to take a long time to upgrade because your inheritance is going to take so many books that you really can't take advantage of whatever hero you're using. So that's where the brands come in. And there's a lot of people out there that don't actually focus in on brands, or maybe you don't even know. But these are some of the most critical components to finish out a build. To be honest, you can have your rings, your accessories, your weapon, all that set up. But if you don't have the right brands, your build just doesn't do nearly as much as it should. For example, the Sky Splitter or the Aileron Sword is a great example of where this build can fall short. Now, I'm not even really all that progressed into my brands lately because I still have Murloc, which I'd love to swap him out at some point for, potentially, there's a couple on here, but like the Bone Club Golem, or even, the Phantom Assassin, or Stone Guardian, right? There's options here. But with the Joker, this gives you the opportunity to actually build a rage-focused build, because this unlocks the abilities for daggers to actually trigger rage recovery. Without this brand, that just does not exist, okay? It just does not exist unless you get the right skill. If you get the right skill, yes, you can get the rage recovery. But without that, your build doesn't do nearly as much as it could if you don't have the Joker. And the Joker is just an addition on top of that for PvE builds, of course. So this is just one example, one brand of 4 for one build of many in a certain game mode of many, okay? Lots of caveats to this. But in general, in PvE, you're going to go with 4 set brands, and you're going to use those for the entirety of your build. And these are extremely powerful. Rush to Mythic if you can. The Mythic tier, similar to gear, unlocks big upgrades for these brands that can potentially change your entire build, right? I mean, look at this, giving you global skill damage, plus 2%, stacking 20 times. That is 40% global skill damage. That is incredible. Or, getting the Wild Vulture, the legendary effect, at least, the max combo count, right? There's some incredible upgrades on here that are really, really important. And the last thing that you're going to want to focus on to really progress quickly is got to be your inheritance. And this is one that, I'm not upgrading now because I was just about to buy books and start getting to that tier 6, but I messed up. I used a lot of my books on an inheritance that I wish I had not. And this is probably my biggest regret of the entire game, to be honest. And it went on for a long time. I even used some elite packs that I can't even refund in that. But, focusing on rushing to tier 6. Now, some of these are worth detouring for sure. Some of the middle nodes to spend your elite packs. To me, honestly, I just wanted to rush to tier 6. I think the actual upgrade here, the actual hero that you're going to get. What did I say about heroes and brands? Well, heroes are good too, but it's really difficult to get to them until you're way later on in the game. Well, I can actually upgrade my Cryberry, or eventually the Ghost Princess, until I have the tier 6 unlocked because I need those books to get to tier 6, and I need the books to upgrade the hero. So I need to finish one or the other. If you're doing a mix of them both, you're going to have 2 weaker options instead of 1 strong focus. So get to your tier 6, get your hero. Now you can start upgrading that, and then you can start falling into those middle nodes to get all the upgrades alongside inheritance. I'm about to explode in terms of not necessarily combat power, but actual strength of build, because there's a lot of effects in here, like extra just, attack each skill cast, right? That's going to be one that I'm going to be upgrading. The rage skill coefficient, not that one, not the ghost soul. No one cares about that really. But coward, giving you extra skill damage. Those ones are going to be incredibly important for me. And then, arguably more importantly, when you actually get to that tier 6, you unlock all the other inheritance extremely quickly. Why? Because it's going to reduce the time that you take to upgrade all the other ones. And then while you're focusing on a single inheritance, all those books that you have saved up, well, now you're going to be able to cash them in, and you're going to be able to upgrade all of these, which is why it's important to continuously acquire books across the board. Even though you're focusing on one, that does not mean you don't spend gold on getting the dragon book, or you don't spend gold on getting the skeleton book, or knight book, or ranger book, or whatever it is, because you're going to need those when you get to tier 6. You're going to wish you had all those books continually be purchased every single time. Very, very important. Between those progression, kind of guidelines, it's going to help you a lot. There are a lot of other things, right? I mean, you could talk about, min-maxing, your time growth, and min-maxing your energy, and min-maxing your progress in terms of stages or challenges or whatever it is. And that's all true. But I think the global ideas are the more important ones, where people are just focusing on the wrong things. Adventurers, #1 priority. It's going to be the biggest bonus that you could possibly get, and it's going to skyrocket you through stages. After that, if you can get some mythic weapons as long as some double S equipment, it's going to be huge. And I kind of group those together because, well, like I said, the martial arts tournament is time gated. So you are really going to be gated by your mythic tier, not your double S tier, assuming you're starting really recently. Or if you're like me, heck, I don't even have my second mythic, but I have my second double S. So your double S comes before your mythic anyways. So it's not going to be super, super important for you to worry about double S equipment. You should hyper focus on it because it's super strong, but you'll get it in time. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are there any other big idea, big picture elements to Capybara Go that you guys think we should be focusing on, or someone should be focusing on if they're looking to progress fast? There's so many things about this game that can help you. So many pieces of content, so many that there's a lot to talk about here. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all for the next one.